house, I can respect how you decide to raise your children. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
respect how you know what I mean? Like where we can be neighbors and respect that you live a different way than I live. You know what I mean? And there's fine lines across and there's boundaries, with everyone,
Yeah. Well,
you
doesn't it
know?
come back to
So
the fear though? I would imagine like the reason, because I think about that a lot too. Like why everybody, so you hear everybody saying it, like we need to come together, we need to stop being so divided, yet we're not, right? You look on Facebook and whatever,
right.
everybody's divided anywhere. You look anywhere and you see it to some extent. And it does seem like to where you were before, it's fear. Like there's a fear of if people do it differently, what's it gonna happen to me? And there's
Hmm.
something in that which seems like deeply embedded in human nature that we're always just worried about ourselves and trying to survive and make the most of it. But as you're
Yeah.
saying, the irony of that is like we would have such a better chance of survival and making the most of life and reducing fear and danger if we work together. Like we create so
Yeah.
much of it by that, but I would think it has to be fear at the root of it, which makes us think like I can't trust
Yeah.
that
I
other
mean,
person, or
because
I
I
can't,
think,
right?
I mean, because as people, that's we're just human beings, and we make mistakes, and we all have flaws. And I think that since we know we have those flaws, um, innately we look at ourselves like I could barely, fully
Mhm.
trust myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have those demons that I fight inside of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What
So
do
we
those
project that
demons
out
look
on
like
the other
on the
person.
other side?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, if you understand that and just, there is a fear that we all live with, and it's being able to manage that. You know what I mean? You got to manage that and know that it's much more worth living in a healthy space
Mm,
than always living in that negative thought of something bad is going to happen to you.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's having the knowledge to be aware, but not have anxiety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because being aware is different than living in fear. Like, okay, I have this information and I'm prepared to deal with whatever situation when it gets there. But I don't have to walk around like, is it right around the corner all day?
Yeah.
Is this gonna happen right around the corner? Is there gonna be another Twin Towers incident? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
like, is there gonna be another mass shooting right around the corner? Like, don't live in that fear, but be prepared and know that those situations have happened, and it's okay to prepare yourself for that situation, and know that it's okay for that. I don't think that there is a situation where you could be too prepared. There's people that they say are hoarding guns and
Yeah.
ammo and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's just like, well, they want to be protected if anything does happen. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
there's like a hidden cost to that though. I heard somebody explain it once about like missing flights. Like if you never if you let's say you fly a lot, right? Let's just make up like you fly 100 times a year because you travel for work or whatever it is. Let's say you never missed a flight, right? There's certain people
Mm-hmm.
who would look at that and be like, "Awesome, that's great. Like you did it the right way, you were structured, you were on time, you had your shit together, you did it all right." But there's another view to look at it that's like, you should have missed a couple flights because the cost it took you in terms of your quality of life, your relationships to make sure you made every one of those 100 flights. Like you probably had to leave 2 hours early. You were probably stressed the night before, making sure you had everything ready. You were probably speeding down the highway to make sure you got to the airport. And it gives some people a sense of satisfaction to be like, yeah, yeah, but that's worth it because I didn't miss a flight. But I think what you're saying is that other side of it, which is like, I'd rather miss a couple flights and not have to live so stressed out, so worried, making sure that I'm exactly on time. And I think a lot of us have gotten to that point that's like, we don't even think about what it costs us to be so prepared or to be so
Right.
worried about stuff and all that. Like, there's so much of life that we're missing. There's so much happiness and joy that we're giving up on because we're afraid of not being happy and having joy. And that's a weird
Right.
thing, but
Right.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So it's just, this I think honing the understanding of things and knowing how to use the wisdom that you have.
How'd you
You know
get
what I
there? Like,
mean?
how have you has this been a journey for you? Is this something like you were
I
born
don't
and you
think
kinda
that
had
I'm
it? Yeah, what's it
I
look
don't
like?
think it's a forever. It's You're always growing. You know what I mean? You're always fighting a battle. You know what I
You
mean? But
should
the
be.
more you stack, yeah, the more you stack on top of those, you pull from experience. Like, I've been through something before. It hasn't been this, so let
Mm,
me take what I do know, you know what I mean, and use it in the next situation. And if I don't know, I know that I can have resources. You know what I mean? So that's where it comes from.
But
It's
even that perspective, Mark, is like, where'd you? Because that in and of itself, like that's, I would argue that's like 80% of it. Because you're right, there's not really
yeah.
answers. It's not about it's that perspective to be able to look at it that way. Is that something that you've always had? Was it like instilled in you? Was it? Where'd you get it from?
I think it's a combination of being surrounded by a good foundation in my family,
Mm.
you know, and self experiences. You know, it's having a foundation and learning how imperfectly perfect this situation is for me, because you know every family has its issue. But you look at it as you take what you can out of that situation, and as you grow to become an adult, you go through your own situations, and it's embodied in you. You have to want to though. You definitely have to want to have and be receptive to the information that you get.